There you are. All right, good morning. Welcome to our unique devotion for the day. I'm trying to get awake here, so let's get in some scripture, get the brain rolling a little bit. So, in the previous two videos, I did 1 Corinthians chapter 7. I did part 1 and part 2. I split the chapters. Now we're back at the very beginning. See, I'm not quite awake yet. So now we're back at the very beginning of 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and I'm going to actually read verses 1 through 9, and then I have a question, a kind of deep thought for the day. So here is the scripture. This is entitled Principles of Marriage. Now concerning the things of which you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, because of sexual immorality, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. Let the husband render to his wife the affection due her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another except with consent for a time, that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, so that Satan does not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. But I say this as a concession, not as a commandment. For I wish that all men were even as I myself, but each one with his own gift from God, one in this manner and another in that. But I say to the unmarried and to the widows, it is good for them if they remain even as I am, single. But if they cannot exercise self-control, let them marry. For it is better to marry than to burn with passion. All right, so it sort of makes it sound like there's only one reason to get married, and that is because you can't gather self-control over your own physicality towards the opposite sex, towards the object of affection. Okay? There are many reasons to get married, but what he's discussing here is a facet that if you're not controlling of yourself, that you instead of, let's just say, sleeping around, being with many multiple partners in many different ways, instead of doing that, because there's all kinds of consequences that can come along with that, it's better to get married and form that bond, and sort of control the fire through the beauty of marriage. What stands out to me here is a slightly deeper question, because I've actually read this before. So there might be some things that quickly stand out for you because this is new to you, and I encourage you to pray about those things, to maybe search a little bit deeper throughout Scripture, and go deeper in your heart on some of those things, especially if God's putting that on your heart. But here's something also to think about. How well laced is your relationship? Okay, so he's talking about two things, marriage and single here. He's talking about single people and being married. For the single people, lacing is your shoelaces. They crisscross. They come together, sort of become one. They become a tight knot when you're tying your shoes. Lace You can hear of lace, like a tablecloth made of lace, where there's lots of very intricate, woven together lacing, crisscrossing of lines of yarn, of string that make a beautiful, tight tapestry that is very difficult to just pull apart. Okay? So, how well laced is your relationship when you're single, meaning your relationship with God? Is your relationship so well laced with God that you don't burn with passion, that you're able to channel that energy into helping and loving others? If you're married, how well laced is your relationship? Again, with God, to create that self-control and the building blocks, the foundation for your marriage relationship. And that foundation is strengthened by that lacing of God in your hearts and in your minds. We do that every day here on this channel, building those connections, building that lacing. How well laced is your relationship then in a marriage situation with the person you love? Because they're talking here about sexual immorality and doing things behind the scenes or things that could potentially hurt that person, because they feel then unloved, because you're placing some of your love and energy towards another object of affection. I say object of affection because it could be another person, or it could be magazine, internet oriented. For you, those of you who are adults, you will know exactly what I'm talking about right now. Even if you're not doing those sorts of things, you still will know. I'm trying to keep this a little PG-13-ish. Okay. So I gave now just a couple of different aspects of what I mean by how well laced is your relationship. But take those words and really think about that. And maybe see if there's a way. Here's the challenge. You know, you could listen to this and you everyone watching this is probably like, we're really well laced. We're good. We have we have history, we have struggles and trials and tribulations, but we also have good times and thriving, and we're really well laced. But, or I should say, so, in adding to that, how well laced is your relationship? Can you add another lace somewhere? And just something as simple as telling your significant other, your loved one, the one that you should be burning passion towards, that you love them one extra time today. Maybe an extra hug. Maybe buy a little something like a flower or a card, something simple. It doesn't need to be a new Mercedes. But can you do something that you know that they would love, that would touch their heart? Maybe even a note. I'm thinking of things. A little note. Maybe helping them at dinner time. Maybe you never do the dishes, but for one time you do the dishes. Maybe you never help them with the laundry, but you do the laundry. Maybe he's always mowing the lawn, and man, if you mowed the lawn for him before he got home, he'd have free time to spend with you. What kind of ways can you build a lacing? There's a plethora. I just named a few. So there it is. I'm going to stop there. It's a really long video, but this is very important. We're going to go a little deeper in this same subject over the next few. So, till next time, I know that God is giving you all the blessings you deserve, and even all the blessings you don't deserve. I love you guys. Till next time, peace.